Yeah, I know.
Welcome, everyone, to the sports show with John and Bob. I've got three things going on here. Where is it still playing? There. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Welcome to the Bob and John Sports Hour. I was hearing it twice. I don't know if you guys were hearing it twice.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where are we hearing it twice? Why
We are hearing it twice.
Why are we hearing it twice?
I don't know.
All right, maybe it'll stop.
These technicians, man, you better start paying them a little more. You know, if you
all right,
pay,
here we go.
pay you,
Yeah, there it goes. It should be working now.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah,
I have no idea why it's doing that, but hopefully we stop that from happening.
you know, if you pay your technicians a little more,
Do you have something open you shouldn't have open? Or are we what?
All right. Oops. Did I just there you go. All right, I think got it figured out. Did anybody hear in the second replay?
I never heard one.
There we go. You guys weren't hearing it, but yeah,
No, we were hearing it.
Yeah, we were hearing it. It was playing twice, so I'm not sure why it was doing that, but I think I got it figured out. Welcome everyone to the Bob and John Sports Hour with myself, Mr. Bob Sharp.
How you doing?
Ray, let's do it. Ray. Yes, he's back, and the Godfather of sports. I didn't come up with anything funny, so we're just going to say Andre Sala.
I'm going to speak a Latin to you now. You know what I mean?
You should do the whole show with an Italian accent. That would be hilarious. What are we going to talk about? Lakers provide update after LeBron's left screaming. Following his injury, he ran into a wall. That was the funniest thing because I read one article that said he needed CPR.
Wow.
Yeah. And I watched the replay and I'm like, CPR? You barely touched him.
Was that the replay where he got called for the offensive foul?
Where he runs into the Warriors player and who set a screen, and it was a clean screen.
Yeah, it was clean screen. And he went down like he got shot.
Yeah, and he laid there for approximately 5 minutes until they stopped the game.
Yeah.
And then some people said that they had to initiate CPR to get him back.
All right. Yeah, I saw that play, and I'm like, "Are you got to be kidding?"
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're also going to talk about Bob's favorite thing, the 2025 World Series odds, Andre. And guess who's overwhelming favorite to win it all again?
The Yankees?
Giants. baby, Giants.
Guys are in first place.
We are in first place right now. That is true. But the Dodgers. The Dodgers are favored to win the whole shebang. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, Alex, how you say his last name? Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's NHL gold record versus the Islanders. We had to talk about it. We don't do a lot of hockey on this show, but when a record like that gets broken, we have to talk about it. Things like that don't happen. And then the 2025 NFL mock draft. We're going to go through it again because it keeps changing. And it keeps changing. Let's just jump right into that one real quick here. They've seen the players. Let's get this right.
Yes.
They've all seen the players. They've seen what they've done. And what do they call it? Rookie camp. And they got this. They
had the combine.
Yeah, combine.
And now everyone's doing their pro days.
Yeah, pro days. So we know how fast they run. We know how high they jump. We know how big their hands are. We know what their wingspans are.
Right.
What else could possibly, at this point in time, with a couple weeks away from the draft, could someone say, you know what, we better go this route?
A lot of it too is they give them the God, I can't remember what the name of the test is, but it's like
rope shear test or something.
It's an IQ test.
Yeah.
And they see how they score on that to see their mental capabilities and stuff.
Yeah. But we'll ask Ray. I mean, we'll go to Ray because Ray hasn't been here in a while, so we're going to go to Ray. I mean, do you think it's that important that their IQ scores are high enough, or is it more important that they have athletic abilities?
Oh man, I mean that's a tough question. Trying to say which one is more important, because I think they're both very important. You know, the better the player usually has, you know, more things. You're like your instincts, your talent, your physical size, arm length. On top of that, you have the intelligence, you know, and experience. So like usually the best players that are out there have a combination of everything. So I'm gonna say if I had to choose between the two, I mean IQ definitely is up there. Because if you are, you know, you are an intelligent player, you can make plays that other players won't, and you just won't make too many mistakes to where you could be physically gifted, and it doesn't matter if you don't have good technique and you don't understand certain things in the IQ perspective.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're more coachable.
Mm-hmm.
You're more coachable.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Andre?
Well, it depends on what kind of IQ test you're giving the person. Are you giving him an IQ test, how well he can dissect the play, or are you giving him an IQ test of
that is true. That's true. I never thought about
equals 3 square, divided by 3, something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's more or less.
Is it a football based IQ test?
I think it's not. I don't think it's really football based, but it's not like ultimate intelligence, like he's a rocket scientist. I think it's probably a combination of personality and common sense. Okay.
So for me, I would think I'd rather see a guy that is, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Which way I have to go? I'd rather have a guy that is athletically gifted, that he can play good, he can play, he knows how to play, he knows what to do. The intelligent part can be, as he goes along playing, can be taught. Or not taught, but the intelligence can come to him as he's playing. A guy that's been playing for 5 years is going to be smarter than a guy playing 1 year, because he's gone through all the motions of what to do if the guy runs this way, if the blocking scheme is to the left, but then they reverse it and run it to the right. A 5-year veteran can spot these little things of how the blocking scheme is going to be, or which way the play is going to run.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So you're what you're saying that is that their athletic ability will overcome that lack of IQ. So their ability to be a great athlete and get to that spot, knowing, maybe a half second slower than the guy that knows he needs to be in that spot. I mean, I get what you're saying.
The IQ can come later. It can come 2 years, 3 years down the road. There's guys there's guys that only played 1 year and their IQ is great, but their athletic ability 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road isn't there because I don't know. Because I honestly can't.
I know what you're saying.
I lost my thought of train.
In the 1998 draft, your first 3 picks: Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf, Achilles Smith. They're all quarterbacks. Okay, Ryan Leaf had a better arm, possibly physically more fit than Peyton Manning. Achilles Smith was a pure stud athlete. So you have 2 better athletes who failed, who stayed in the league maybe 2 years, over the guy who was not as athletic, but far more intelligent. Now, there's
some pedigree involved in that pick.
That's true, though. But if you're picking athletic ability over how you see the field or how you study the field or your ability to comprehend. That's why they give him these tests.
Yeah.
Is would you rather have Jamarcus Russell with no work ethic, but a phenomenal athlete, or Peyton Manning, who's slow? His arm strength's not as good as Jamarcus Russell.
Russell just liked to eat.
I know he liked to eat, but he had that arm, and everyone saw him. They're like, this guy's phenomenal. He sucked. I mean, and getting away from quarterbacks, Tony Mandrich failed. Tony Mandrich was the next big left tackle, and he went to Green Bay and he failed. Yeah. Now, he was a great athlete, but he couldn't pick up the playbook. He didn't have the work ethic, and I think the reason why they give him these tests is to basically put all this together. Are you a thinker? Can you think on the go? You know, what's your work ethic? You know, how are these things going to affect me? I think it's called the Wonderlic test.
The Wonderlic, yeah, that's right.
The minimum score is 15. I think
this is a good low number.
So I'd rather have a guy score 21, maybe not as physically gifted, but he's going to be around for a long time. Because I mean, if you look, all right, linebackers, Khalil Mack was outstanding.
Yeah,
but back in the day, the Rams had London Fletcher, who probably wasn't as gifted physically and talent wise, but he's got more accolades than Khalil Mack.
Yes, yeah.
So that's why they give him these tests.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's so many tests that they go through, and then they're looking at backgrounds. I think backgrounds come into play where you're going to end up on the draft. You know, if you're a coachable athlete as well, what school you went to, I think comes into play. I just find it funny that, and I know I get it that like every broadcaster is going to have a different look at where they think certain players going to go due to need. But we've learned over the years that there's been plenty of teams in the draft that have picked the best player at that spot, and didn't. That's my lawyer. That's my lawyer. I'll cancel that. Go ahead. Yeah. So I mean, that happens. It happens a lot. You know, But I think right now, like even the top 5 teams in the draft right now have to fill a spot that they need to fill. So I think it's a little different this year. I think, you know, the Giants need a quarterback. Yeah, Tennessee
Giants got 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I know they do, but you know how that works.
But okay, so Ray, what do you think? Okay, so the Giants have Tommy DeVito, who finished last year, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. If you're going to draft a quarterback, why did you go out and spend the money to get the other 2 guys?
Yeah.
So obviously you're not going to get a quarterback, right?
Giants don't need a quarterback for another maybe 2 or 3 years.
Right.
And by then, the draft of quarterbacks will be much better than what they have this year. Giants don't need a quarterback anymore.
Go ahead, Ray. What do you think?
Okay, so I can see it going either way. I think the thing that's interesting about this is, like you pointed out, they decided to pay a decent amount of money for 2 quarterbacks, not just one. But the thing is, they're both on 1-year deals, and besides being on a 1-year deal, I think they went for Jameis Winston first, just because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get Russell Wilson or if they would be able to get an Aaron Rodgers, the last quarterbacks that were open on the market. So I think because they weren't sure if they'd be able to get him, they went for Winston. And then once they got Winston, they're like, okay, we're going to get a deal with Russ. And now that we're going to get this deal, we still only think we should do it for a year, just because, like you pointed out, next year, this draft class or the year after that will be better than this current one. So I definitely think it's interesting that they decided to pay both of those quarterbacks. I think I could still see it going either way, because they messed up last year. You know, they had a chance last year to grab a quarterback. They passed up on J.J. McCarthy. They passed up on Bo Nix. They passed up on Michael Penix Jr. So they had an opportunity last year, and they didn't take a quarterback. So if they passed up another opportunity this year by taking who to be the second best quarterback, depending on who you ask, you know, either Shador or Dart, but a lot of people is Shador. Then I don't know. I don't know how the fans will feel about that. 2 years in a row passing up a quarterback.
Yeah, but you got Malik Neighbors, who, if the Giants have a good offensive line, and maybe they go that way, that guy is going to be a stud receiver. He just needs someone to get him the ball because he had a good year. He had a good rookie year, but you had Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito with a makeshift offensive line.
Yeah.
But Malik Neighbors is going to be a stud if someone can get him the ball.
Yeah. 100%.
Let's talk about the Emmy goes to the award-winning flopper, Mr. LeBron James. I know, Andre, you're a big Warriors fan as myself. Are you a little upset that they put the stamp of approval as the Warriors being a dirty team? The Warriors, of all the teams to pick to be a dirty team, do they not see what's going on in Detroit? Detroit's going back to the 80s here.
First of all, I got to say that I watched that game, but I did not see the part where LeBron James plowed into the guy and then fell down.
Early,
I
like
did not see that play.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened, where I was or what, but the Warriors don't have the tack of being a dirty team. There's only one player on that team that does that.
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green, went back to his not that game, but last night's game against Houston. Draymond Green went back to his old ways again. The only team that's really dirty right now, and you mentioned it, is Detroit. They're the only team that I can see that plays really dirty. That seems like
just a little bit, Andre, just a little bit.
Was that the same team? I saw just the other day, one of the games, Anthony Edwards went up for a layup and he was pushed in his layup and a foul wasn't called. Was that the same team? Probably
it wasn't the Warriors that did that, because it might have been
it was the Pistons playing the Timberwolves.
Yeah, it was the Pistons playing the Timberwolves. There must be something in the water in Detroit. Okay. Orlando went over there and said, "Hey, you know what? You guys got to get a little tougher."
Well, all right. So people give me a lot of crap, okay, because LeBron is 6'9", 260, built like a brick shit house. He's Anthony Mason with a better shot.
Yeah.
Okay. But to tell me he could play in the 80s, no problem, score 40 in the 80s. No, he couldn't.
No way.
He can't even take an offensive foul where he barely touched the guy, lands on his feet, goes down like a soccer player, like he got shot.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't bring out like the gurney to take him to the hospital.
They have that magic spray, dude. They had in soccer, dude. They're spraying it with that.
He wouldn't last in the 80s. Lambeer would have killed him. Bird would have killed him. Rick Mahorn would have killed. I mean, they were so physical, and they didn't call. I mean, Larry Bird and Lambeer got into it. They're throwing punches. Larry Bird chucks a basketball at him. Yeah. All they got back then was just a technical foul.
Foul.
Nobody got tossed.
Yeah. Here's my thing. All right. What happened in that Warriors game did happen early, but look at his score, his line: 33 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 10 for 15 on the floor shooting. Does that sound like a guy that just almost died on the court?
No.
That's why I don't understand. Now, I don't understand how the league doesn't say, "Hey, LeBron, knock this shit off." I know, it's late. Is it just too late because it's just so far into his career?
Well, I think Adam Silver still believes that the NBA needs LeBron for fans. It's just like 2001, 2002. The Sacramento Kings were the best team in the league.
Yeah,
they were. There's a referee, Tim Donaghy, who went to jail for fixing games, but he was the referee in Game 6. And they asked him after he got out of jail, "Hey, did David Stern fix games?" He goes, "David Stern would send the officiating crew." It was Game 6, and the Kings were up 3 games to 2. Tim Donaghy goes, "David Stern was sent us an email that's basically said this would be better for the NBA if it went to Game 7. Yeah. The Kings should have won that game. Yeah. It was fixed. I mean, Kobe Bryant sticks an elbow in Mike Bibby's face, in his eye.
Yeah.
And there's no foul.
No foul.
Right.
And then the Lakers get the ball. They're down by 2, 3 seconds left. They give the ball to Robert Horry. He hits a running 3, and the Lakers win game 6, go to game 7. The Kings can't shoot a free throw to save their life. They lose.
Yeah.
But
well, come on, man. Small market. Sacramento.
Yeah,
that was
but that's the whole deal.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Nets had already won the East.
Yeah.
So David Stern didn't think that we would tune in to watch the Kings and the Nets.
Yeah, he was wrong because
we needed Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of Kings fans. There was a lot of fans in this. Now I'm just talking about this area that just went nuts for basketball because the Kings were in it.
Yeah,
and
the Kings should have won at least 2 rings, but the Kings had to go up against the Lakers, who David Stern wanted to win, because the Lakers had Kobe, Shaq, Robert Horry. They had Derek Fisher. They had Paul Gasol. And no, not Paul Gasol. He wasn't there yet, but they had.
Didn't they have white chocolate at the time?
No,
too?
They didn't have white chocolate. No. The Kings
Lamar Odom.
No, Lamar Odom. But the Kings had. They had got rid of white chocolate for Mike Bibby.
Yeah, that's right.
So Bibby, Doug Christie, Chris Webber, Dejan Stojakovic, and Vlade Divac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got Bobby Jackson and that crew coming off the bench.
Yeah.
But I think Adam Silver is so freaking convinced. If we don't have LeBron, no one's going to watch.
No one's going to.
I think if we don't have LeBron, people will watch.
Yeah. Well, let me ask the youngster: do you watch because you know game's on and LeBron's playing?
Well, look, So, multiple things to this for me. One, I'm actually a Lakers fan, and I don't care that LeBron's on my team. 2, I've always been more of a Kobe Bryant fan, and one of the main reasons, as Bob pointed out earlier, is if LeBron was to play back in like the 70s and 80s, he would not be able to play the same way he does today because of the flopping and he can't deal with contact and the type of defense and the pressure that would be on him. So, like, just in terms of the mentality and the respect I have for like different players, like I don't watch basketball for LeBron. I don't turn on the TV because I know LeBron's playing. And again, I'm a Lakers fan, so I watch some of the games. Don't get me wrong. I watch, even if I don't catch it in the moment, I'll watch it the next day. But I'm not a big LeBron fan. I respect what he's been able to do throughout his career, the longevity of his career, the amount of points he's put up because of the longevity. But I wouldn't, go as far as to say that I've even in the last 10 years. So I've never gone and put on basketball because, LeBron's playing today.
Yeah. And you still, because this is something we used to do. I mean, I think Bob's done it. I don't know if Andre's done it, but I've done it. We go out and play basketball with kids, and I'd be like, Jordan from the 3. Yeah. When you're out playing with other people, do you hear people going, LeBron, from the I don't know, where's favorite spot, 15 feet away?
Right. Well, I mean,
a slam dunk.
Yeah.
It's always been Kobe for me. For me.
I don't see.
But do you hear kids? Do you hear kids saying it?
No. They're shooting threes. They're like Steph Curry.
Curry.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andre. You were saying something.
I was watching a talk. The Pat McGee talk show a little while, about a week or two ago, and they had LeBron James as a guest on that show. And they were talking like what we're talking about back in the 80s, back in the 70s. And so somebody asked him this question about back in the 80s, what would you do and what could you do and what would Giannis do back in the 80s? And LeBron James said that Giannis, if he was playing back in the 80s, he would average 80 points a game.
Bullshit.
Oh, shit.
And that, I don't know how he could even think of that, saying that statement coming out of his mouth.
If we're playing today's rules, maybe.
Yeah. If you're playing
80s rules, hell no.
No way.
But getting back to the whole LeBron thing, okay? Look at the greatest players in NBA history. 3 seconds to go in the game, okay? John Havlicek wanted the ball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wanted the ball.
Yeah.
Larry Bird had to have the ball.
Yeah.
And he told the coach, get everybody out of my way. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Jordan wanted the ball. Kobe Bryant wanted the ball. Steph Curry wants the ball. LeBron didn't want the ball.
No. Yeah.
Because how many memorable shots can you remember him taking?
You don't
with the
have
game
very,
on the line.
You don't have very many. You don't have very many.
It's kind of funny because we talked about this once before,
Yeah.
and LeBron James doesn't want the ball, with 5 seconds to go, and shoot the game winner or not.
Right.
Because what happens that I've kind of noticed, he gets the ball maybe with 40 seconds to go, 35 seconds to go, and he wastes 10 seconds dribbling,
Mhm.
and then he just rams right down the middle and gets a slam dunk and gets the 2 points.
Right.
So there's still another 20 seconds to go in the game,
Right.
and the other team comes down, tries to shoot, misses. The Lakers get the ball, and now he doesn't need the ball because they already have the ball and the game, and they're up by 2. So I think that's why I think he doesn't get the ball in the last 4 or 5 seconds
Yeah.
to shoot and win the game, because he's already done it 30 seconds before.
Well,
And it's-
I think didn't mean to cut you off, but what I think is he's afraid to fail. He's afraid to miss.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want that on him if he misses.
I don't think nobody wants that,
Well, all right, look.
Well, that's the difference between a great player and an okay player.
I can give you 20 minutes of highlights
Yeah.
of Larry Bird taking the last shot. Does he make every one of them? No.
No.
Does he own it? Yes.
Yeah.
But all the ones he makes are memorable.
Yeah.
Right? Kobe Bryant, same way. He's gonna miss more than he's gonna make.
Yeah.
But he wants to take that shot.
Yeah.
Jordan, same way. Although 2 of the best shots in the Bulls' history was because he was triple teamed and got one to John Paxson. Paxson hit the shot. They beat Cleveland to go on to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, he hit Steve Kerr because he was triple teamed. Because Jordan knew, I'm covered, someone's open.
Yeah.
Jordan's best game ender shot that ended the series was against Brian Russell on the Utah Jazz in '98.
Yeah.
Although I think it was an offensive foul because he did take his right arm and get out of my way and hit the shot with 2 seconds.
You get out of his way, damn it. All right, let me ask you this question. Now he talks, he wants to play, he could play in the 80s and 90s, even part of the 90s were pretty rough.
No, he couldn't.
No. Dennis Rodman covering LeBron James.
LeBron would be on the bench crying.
I just thought about that. I was like, the worm against LeBron. No.
Right. Like,
man, I think Dennis Rodman would have had a field day covering LeBron. He would have been getting so happy knowing he's getting in LeBron's head and he's crying to the refs.
That was the thing too in the 80s and 90s, getting in the players' heads, dude.
But there was a better guy playing defense in the league that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
The best defensive guy in the league was Michael Cooper for the Lakers.
Yeah.
And ask Larry Bird, hey, who is the one guy you didn't want to play against? He goes, Michael Cooper. Because Michael Cooper played defense the whole game. And if you ask Michael Cooper, he goes, who was the hardest guy to guard? And he goes, Larry Bird.
Yeah.
And they go, why? He goes, well, when I guard Jordan and when I guard these other guys, if they don't have the ball, they're standing around. He goes, Larry Bird's constantly moving.
Yeah, he's constantly moving.
And they're setting picks and stuff, and it's hard. But Michael Cooper would have owned LeBron.
Yeah. At this point in time, there's not much the league's going to do. They're going to let him continue doing this silly things. For me, I mean, like, all right, right? I mean, it does take his street cred away. And there's a reason why kids don't talk about LeBron James. There's a reason why you don't see LeBron James jerseys out there with these kids wearing them.
No.
I think a lot of it has to do for this flopping nonsense and a little bit of jumping around from team to team looking to win the championship. I think kids see that.
Yeah.
I can say for me personally, like, okay, I'm only 25, but growing up, watching basketball, there were LeBron James fans. There were people that, had his jerseys and talked about LeBron, but there was as much people that loved LeBron. I feel like there was almost equally as many people that had something bad to say about LeBron. And a big part of that, again, for me, I've seen him flopping his, like, so much of his career. So for me personally, that when it comes to watching a sport, no matter what the sport is, there's certain things that, it's kind of like, there's certain things in my opinion, that you don't do because, like you kind of pointed out, they lose your credibility or respect for you as a player because you're kind of doing something cheap, cheesy, and it's not about the sport at that point. Like, the contact wasn't that serious, so you're going to exaggerate it. If you were a real player and you were really skilled, you'd be playing through it and you wouldn't even care that you got fouled. So for me personally, the amount of times I've seen him flop definitely has taken away the amount of respect I have for him and where I view him on the totem pole of basketball players.
Yeah. Well, my thing was, and this is when I kind of knew that he was kind of a fraud and everyone had his back and protected him, was they were losing a game. They were down by 25 points. He's on the bench, 6 minutes to go.
Yeah.
He gets up, walks into the locker room.
Yeah.
He's not hurt. No trainer's going with him. He got up off the bench and walked to the locker room.
Yeah.
Who does that? You're going to have good games.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Besides LeBron James. So here he is. The game's over. Teammates are going in the locker room. He's already in street clothes.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
I've seen a few games where he things don't go his way and he's losing the game, and he's changed somewhat a little. Is that he did what you just said, Bob? He would walk into the locker room without shaking the other team's congratulations, blah, da, 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 all that stuff. I've seen him do that a lot.
Yeah.
But lately I've seen him also come out and, at the end of the game and congratulate Kerr or, go shake hands with Draymond.
Sure,
so
but
he's changing somewhat.
Right, but you don't, with 6 minutes to go in the game, you don't head to the locker room and you're not hurt.
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the game's not over and you're not injured, like you said. That when you mentioned that right now, it reminded me back to like that holds like the same weight as like when in the 49er game. I can't remember who you guys were playing, Andre, but when one of your linebackers chose not to step into the game.
That was just recently.
That was last year.
Hey, he's got a contract deal too.
And then they put him in starter.
Yeah, but then he's on the team. Team signing.
Greenlaw comes back and they say, "Oh, you're going to be the backup to Greenlaw," and he got pissed off and said, "I've been playing first string all season. Now you want me to be the backup?" And he just decided not to play.
Yeah, they told him go in the game. He goes, "No,
right."
Yeah, I'm paid already. I'm going to put this up because it's going to be next to Bob, so you won't have to get upset, Andre. It's not next to yours.
Okay.
It's right up there. After starting the season with 7 consecutive losses, the Atlanta Braves failed for the second. Oh, wait, I started way too early on that article. Let me go back up.
And the Braves have 7 consecutive losses?
Yeah, to start the season.
Yeah, they got swept in San Diego, and then they came to the Dodgers and got swept in LA.
The Los Angeles Dodgers opening the 2024 season as favorites to win the World Series. And after defeating the New York Yankees in 5 games, they indeed celebrated with champagne come October. According to ESPN Bets, which is big, the Dodgers are looking very likely to win the World Series again in 2025, opening at plus 400, Mr. Sharp.
Yep.
Favored to repeat and are currently sitting at plus 250 as MLB season moves into the month of April. Of course, I just read this already. After starting the season with 7 consecutive losses, the Atlanta Braves have fallen from second on the odd boards all the way down to 5th at 12-1. The Yankees surged and are ALL's team with the best chances of winning it all at plus 850. The Mets and the Phillies are tied overall at 10-1. Baltimore Orioles, I always get that name wrong. Orioles, and the Houston Astros, our favorite team, the trash banging Houston Astros, sitting just behind the Braves at 14-1. And Mr. Sharp. He loves this part. We're talking Dodgers. We loves this part. Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
Are you happy? Are you happy with the start you're seeing from this team? Can they continue to play this good? Is the pitching going to last?
Well, all right. Here's the deal. Okay. We could be undefeated.
Oh, geez.
Except for we can't do one thing at third base.
Yeah.
We can't catch the ball. We can't throw the ball. In the 2 losses we have 5 errors. 4 of those are committed by Max Muncy at third base.
Mhm.
You know why the Giants are in first place?
Yeah.
The
Defense.
Giants can catch the ball. They can throw the ball. Giants have good pitching and timely hitting. If you don't have any errors, your chances of winning go up exponentially.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have to address third base.
The only reason the Dodgers won the World Series was because of the errors.
Right. The Yankees, and the Dodgers knew it. And because the Dodgers scouting report said, get on base, put pressure on the Yankees because they are a very horrible defensive team.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's been exposed. Now, from now on, every team's going to hit the ball to third base.
I would.
And
Muncy sucks.
if the coaches from the Dodgers don't wake up,
Right.
they're not going to win another World Series.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, like yesterday, they committed 2 errors early. They were down 6-2. They lost 8-7 because they came back. But the problem is you can't throw the ball around.
Yeah.
You got to play solid. That's why, like I said, the Giants, their pitching is good. If they can play defense, they don't have to hit 5 home runs a game. They're going to win games 3-1, 3-2, 4-1, 4-2.
I've actually noticed that. I
Yeah.
was watching the series against Houston.
Seattle? Okay, yeah, Houston,
and
yeah.
the Seattle Mariners, and I was really amazed how the hitting for like a base, a double,
Mhm.
is much better this year than it was last year.
Right. Well,
Last year they had men in scoring position
Yeah.
in every game, and they were like men in scoring position, 1 for 27.
right.
This year it's not like that. This year,
Right.
you know, if they got a man on second, somebody's bringing him in. The next batter up is bringing him in.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed how well they were playing against these 2 teams that supposedly are kind of favorites to be up there to
Right.
win the World Series or even to get into the playoffs. And the Giants aren't. And I was just amazed how well they played.
Right.
I'm just hoping that they can continue to do this because it is a long season.
It's a very long season.
Long season.
And
It's only 8 games into the season, 9
Right.
games into the season.
But see, I've always been a big proponent of if you practice hard, you'll play hard. They had the best record in spring training. They played hard in spring training. How you practice is how you play. If you don't take practice seriously, you're not going to take going on the field seriously. I don't care what sports you're in.
Mhm.
You know, it's like when Allen Iverson said he's talking about practice because coach wanted him to run.
Practice. No.
Right? How many rings does Allen Iverson have? 0.
And that's why he's not playing anymore.
Well, yeah, because he's old and he's retired.
Right, but I mean, he didn't play like 15 or 20 years like most players do now.
Right.
No, he might have played, 10, 12 years maybe at the
He
most.
should have because he went broke.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, I know it's early, right? It's early,
It's early.
and you know the Dodgers are going to be the Dodgers. They're built that way. They have a great farm system. The kids aren't going to get to play because they keep buying players.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
the Giants have a legitimate shot. Like I said last week, I think the Giants will make the playoffs because the Giants can catch the ball. They can throw the ball. Timely hitting, very good pitching. That's all you need.
Yeah. I mean, in that National League, you got the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, and the Rockies. Other than the Rockies, everyone else is putting up good numbers. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting season, especially in the National League West. In the AL, same story, I think. Right? Yeah, Yankees, probably the Red Sox. Let's see, Tigers for sure.
Well, all right. So in the
The
AL,
Rangers could be there.
Rangers, Angels.
I think the Rangers will win the West.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees are going to probably win the East. But in the Central, you got the Tigers.
Yeah.
The Royals made the playoffs last year with a very young team. Even though they're off to a slow start, I would put the Royals up there as well because I think that the Royals are going to bypass the Twins, who are favored to win the Central.
Yeah.
But I think that the Royals have a good shot because they kept their young nucleus. They didn't go out and lose anybody big. They didn't sign anybody big, but that young nucleus could develop.
Yeah. It just, for me, every year it's, everybody always talks about the opening day. Everyone's still in it. Everybody's got a chance to win the World Series.
Absolutely.
But again, like Rob's talking about, it's just, there's just teams in baseball that just seem to let's just keep rolling that money in, and we'll get that extra money from the rest of the league, to stay afloat.
Right.
And for me, the A's are one of those teams. I mean, the A's are one of those teams. Who else would you say is that it was one of those?
The Royals,
teams?
the A's, Cleveland, but they're good.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Pirates. They developed They developed some great players. Now, see, the A's back in the 90s and early 2000s, the A's could develop young talent. They had the best farm system. I mean, when you're bringing up guys like Barry Zito, Mark Mulder, Tim Hudson. You're bringing up Giambi. You're bringing up who's another good guy? Shortstop. He went and played for the Mets. But anyway, when you bring them up, and these guys are killing it for 4 years, and then you come to a realization, I can't re-sign these guys because I don't have the money. And that's what the Moneyball is a great movie. If you've never seen Moneyball, that explains the whole A's situation right there. Okay, you're on a shoestring budget, but you're competing with the Red Sox and the Yankees and all these other teams, and you're close to going to the World Series, but you just don't have enough good players to do it. But you're always in the playoffs.
Yeah. Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero, the
Jr.
14 years, $500 million. 14 years, $500 million.
Well, all right. So my question is, who are you going to put around him?
Well, I don't know, but I'm going to ask Ray. Ray, would you like to have that contract?
Hell yeah, I take that money in a heartbeat.
How much of it was guaranteed?
I don't think they do that in baseball.
Baseball doesn't do guarantees.
That's good, because if that was him and I got that contract, and let's say I got 150 million guaranteed, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's all guaranteed.
3 years, I would break a leg and say, "Oh, I can't play anymore."
Well, now, all right. So baseball, I believe in your contract, if you get hurt, I think the contract changes. You're still going to get some money, but you're not going to get all your money. Football is that's why football has guaranteed money. Is football, they can cut you and they stop paying you. That's why there's guaranteed money up front. Football is the only one like that.
Yeah, but you can get hit with a fastball on career end.
Oh, you could, but the team will take care of you. My question is, and I love baseball. My question is, the California Angels suck.
Yeah.
They're a poorly run organization. Where does Mike Trout go on trade deadline? Don't say the Dodgers. They don't need him.
Come to the Giants. If the
Giants are the Giants willing to eat that contract?
Yeah, that's big money.
Oh, that's the problem. I mean, if the Giants are in position maybe to win the division by I mean, you could tell
by the end of July. By the end of July,
position you're going to be in, if you have a chance or not, and if they have a chance to win the division and advance into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They could pay that contract, no problem, because they'll be selling jerseys. The fans will be coming.
Yeah.
They'll be selling more beers, more of everything, and they can get some of that contract money back.
Right. So if I'm the Giants and it's August 1st is coming up, trade deadline, and you got to do it before August 1st, or you can still trade after, but the player has to go through waivers, and every team can.
Yeah, every team's got a shot at it.
But so, if I'm the Giants, I would take that risk. I would rent Mike Trout for the end of the year, and then
the end of the round,
see what happens.
Yeah.
But I think if the Giants did get Mike Trout and he was healthy, I think you guys would be World Series contenders. As long as nothing happens to your pitching staff.
Yeah,
I think you still got to shore up your bullpen a little bit.
Because
these other numbers.
like when I was watching the games against Seattle and Houston, they got a couple of home runs, between both series, but they were getting a lot of singles and doubles to bring in
Yes.
runs.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Great, there's nothing wrong with that. But what they need is you got two men on base, and Trout comes up and hits a 3-run homer.
Uh-huh.
That's great. That would demolish the other team's spirit.
It would demoralize them. Yes, it would.
Yeah.
So they need somebody that can step up and get that 3-run home run. Everyone doesn't have to be a grand slam, and it doesn't have to be a home run every time he comes to bat. But to get like a 3-run home run,
Bring Barry back. They'll walk him every time.
Yeah.
Who?
Bring Barry back. They'll walk him every time.
Barry Bonds, you mean?
Yeah. Bring Barry back, and they'll walk him every time.
Right.
I was looking at these other contracts and MLB, and my God, John, Juan
Soto,
15 years, $765 million contract.
Oh my God.
and he's with the Mets, and the Mets have spent last 10 years. The Mets have spent an ungodly amount of money, and they still haven't gone to the World Series.
And of course, then you got the Dodger guy on the list.
2 years, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, $700 million.
Show me the
Crazy.
money.
And we were thinking just the other day, we were talking about possibility of someday having $1 billion player in football, and it's like shit. Baseball's almost there.
Well, I mean, the NBA is that they're starting to pay guys $70 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's too much money for but that's just me. I mean, you can't afford to go to a game because I ain't got $300 a night to buy a ticket.
Yeah,
but that's with every sport, though. That's with every sport.
No, actually,
well, you got to think too. The NBA stadiums are smaller stadiums, so you're looking at maybe 25,000 seats. I don't know if they're any bigger than that. Might be a couple of them a little bigger.
Not bigger than 25.
Yeah, so you're trying to make a lot of money with 25,000 seats, which isn't a big part of their budget, or their money coming in, the jerseys and all that other nonsense. But when you start, like Bob's saying, you start paying players $70 million a year.
Yeah. But the NBA, they also get money through TV contracts.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah, I mean, ESPN.
You've seen those ratings.
Baseball.
They're getting $3 billion a year.
Yeah, from ESPN
and
ABC.
From the TV revenues.
TBS,
that's where their money is.
Yeah, but see, Major League Baseball, they get TV contracts from their local sports channel because they got to pay to broadcast the games.
Yeah.
The problem is your bigger market teams like New York, Chicago, LA, their TV contracts are going to be bigger than Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Philadelphia, not Philadelphia, but Pittsburgh and like Baltimore. Okay, but on the Dodgers side, they're sold out every night.
Yeah, that is
every night's 56,000 people, regardless if they show up or not. Those tickets are paid for. 56,000 a night. The Dodgers lead the league in attendance every year with 4 million people.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of Dodger dogs.
Yeah, and then they get $1 billion from the TV contracts, and that's where all your extra money is to be able to go out and spend on players.
Right. Plus, the Dodgers market is, you have a lot of white people, you have a lot of Hispanic people, but now you're starting to get a lot of the Asian people because of who you're signing. Shohei Ohtani, Sasaki, Yamamoto. The Giants have Young-Hoo Lee playing in center field, so you're getting more of the Korean, Japanese market in San Francisco as well. I mean, I think though, you got to sign multiple players and get them in there so your fan base grows.
Let's go to the NFL mock draft, and let's start with Mr. Ray Ray. Where is he? There he is. I see him.
Why do I got speakers in front of me?
You got what? Oh no. That's
look at the bottom part of the page, Andre, not the top part.
Not the top part. The bottom part. We're going Raiders first. We're gonna start with the Raiders first because Ray hasn't been around. Your thoughts on that pick, Ray?
I love it. I really do love the pick. For the past couple of weeks, I kind of been back and forth
It keeps
between
changing, huh?
Okay, so I've seen so many so many television stations, ESPN, the NFL, CBS, a lot of them consistently, and other people too that work with these networks but doing their own. A lot of people have been mocking Ashton Genty to the Raiders. I personally love it. I kind of been back and forth the past couple of weeks because at one point I was kind of interested in Tedro McMillan, and then
Yeah.
I kind of the more and more the more that I sat on it, thought about it, watched more tape on both the players, you hear from the interviews and the other stuff that comes out. The fact that I know a lot of people may not know it, but it was 2 years ago where the video surfaced about Tedro McMillan not watching his own tape. He said that he watches tape only with his team. And he said that was good enough, and stuff like that. That tanks your draft stock. It really does. So for me personally, I think Ashton Genty fits a need and a want. He will be the best player available if it's the way a lot of these mocks have been going. Cam Ward off at 1, then Abdul, Travis, maybe Shador, maybe not, Mason Graham. All these players are going to be gone most likely in that top 5 before we pick. So I think it's best player available and a need. We had one of the worst run games, if not, I believe, the worst run game last year in the NFL. So taking the best running back in the draft, man, that's going to help a lot.
Yeah. Will we get your little take on Mr. Geno Smith and getting a 2 more year extension deal?
Personally, I like it. When I first saw that we were signing Geno, I was like, okay, not bad, And then the more I watched Geno's tape, I actually was a little more impressed than I realized, man. In the past 4 years now, out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, he is the overall number 1 most accurate quarterback in the past 4 years. So, there's a lot to be desired there. There's a lot that he can get done. He has a nice deep ball too. I like his rhythm, his timing, his release. He has a good arm. I think he has great leadership skills, with working with Pete Carroll and Pete giving him a chance. He's been a backup to a lot of different quarterbacks throughout the league, before he really got his shot. And when he did, he ran with it, and he has not had a single losing record season since he's been a starting quarterback. So, I have faith. I have faith, Geno, especially that he's reunited with Pete Carroll. That just gives me even more confidence in our quarterback.
Mr. Sharp, your thoughts on their pick?
They do need a running back. And I think that if they do get Genty, I do believe that they're high enough in the second round they can get a quality wide receiver. I mean, I think that kid in Ohio State, Mecca, however he says his last name, I think he could fall into the second round because the latest mock draft, I don't see him going in the first round.
Mr. Andre, your thoughts on Geno Smith?
Oh, at first I thought he was like, oh God, this guy ain't shit. He's gonna not be a very good quarterback. He's just as bad now as he was 2 years ago. Right. Or 3 years ago. But since he became a starter up in Seattle, he's played well. He really has. And, and I think for the Raiders, I think that's better for them to go with him right now and wait, like I mentioned earlier with the Giants, wait a year or two when there's 7 good quarterbacks to go after instead of just 2 or 3, and you're not in the top 3. So you're better off doing that. Now, the thing that I'm thinking is if they need a running back really bad because their running game wasn't so good last year, if they have a chance to get the kid from Ohio State, why not? From Boise State, why not go after him instead of Austin Genty?
Well, Ashton Genty is the kid from Boise State.
Yeah, that's the guy.
You just mentioned his name was different.
No, that is the kid from Boise State, Ashton.
Ashton Genty is the kid.
I thought Bob mentioned his name and it was.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I was talking about a wide
Genty's a
receiver in the
receiver.
Wide receivers. Yeah, he was.
Well,
No,
yeah,
that's a good-
that pick is great. I wish the Niners could pick him, and he could be, for a year or two behind McCaffrey, and then come out. But yeah, I mean,
Shoot, hey, I'm not gonna lie, Andre. If you guys got Genty, sorry to cut you off, but if you guys got Genty, you'd want him to start over McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I would, yes, but I would like to see the guy, learn the system a little bit first.
Yeah,
fair. That's
fair. Here's my take. I'll ask Bob first. Why did they not re-sign Geno Smith in Seattle?
I think that.
And do you think is he a tier 1 quarterback?
No, I think Geno's not a tier 1 quarterback yet. But I think when they were looking around and they were looking at the changes they needed to make, they're budgeting their money in different positions. And I don't think they wanted to pay Geno, especially if you don't got DK Metcalf and you don't have Tyler Lockett anymore. So basically, you're in a rebuild mode. Do you want to pay Geno Smith more money to be in a rebuild mode? No, you don't. I mean, I don't blame Sal for getting rid of him. Geno Smith could possibly be. Now, he reminds me of his career. There was a guy who was drafted number 1 in the early 70s. Went to a horrible team.
Ray will not know this guy.
Huh?
Ray will not know this guy.
He will. Ray will know this guy.
You said 70s.
Right. Ray will know this guy.
All right.
He first round pick, went to a team that was bad, had 3 horrible years. They traded him to the Niners before Bill Walsh got there in the Joe Thomas era, and he was horrible there. He was sucked. And everyone thought this guy would be out of the league, and the Raiders took a chance on him in 1980.
Oh, God.
And he won a Super Bowl. Jim Plunkett.
Yeah, Ray knows who that is.
He was okay with the Niners.
No, he wasn't. You guys sucked. In the Joe Thomas era, in 76, 77, 78, you guys were horrible.
The thing. He came to the Niners as a training camp to go to the Raiders.
Well, plus two, I mean, the Niners, in my opinion, and this is how bad Joe Thomas was as a general manager before they got Bill Walsh. Yeah. The Niners had a great running back named Delvin Williams.
Yes.
Delvin Williams was phenomenal. They traded Delvin Williams to the Dolphins to sign a broken down O.J. Simpson to bring people into the stands because O.J. grew up in San Francisco. Yeah. O.J. was he was past his prime. 2 bad knees, couldn't run the ball, but you got rid of Del Williams for O.J. Simpson.
Did we get O.J. from Miami or from Buffalo?
I think you guys signed him because his contract was up in Buffalo, but you traded Del Williams to Miami, and I'm not sure what you got.
Oh, okay.
But you got rid of Del Williams.
Right.
And you signed OJ.
You got a bag of beans is what you got.
Yeah, basically you got OJ with 2 bad knees.
Yeah.
Right.
And then your offensive line wasn't good yet. And you got Jim Plunkett, who struggled in New England or the Boston Patriots, New England Patriots. Yeah. And his confidence was shot, but because he was a hometown kid who won the Heisman at Stanford in the national championship.
Yeah.
And then you got OJ, who grew up in San Francisco. So I think what the Niners were trying to do was get some guys with name recognition to hopefully fill the stands.
Seats. Yep, fill some seats.
And they were horrible.
And that's why I keep saying, like when a quarterback comes out of college, that he needs to sit, on the bench for a couple of years to learn the system, to get good. And that's a perfect example of what happened to Plunkett.
Yeah. Well, plus he went to a bad team.
So I'm gonna do some fantasy football questions here to kind of help my.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ray. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, Ray.
Okay, I just had a quick question for everybody. Yeah. It was kind of like a follow-up question from John's question. So you said that I agree. I wouldn't say he's a tier 1 quarterback. Now, where would all of you guys say you would put Geno in terms of all the starting quarterbacks?
I would put him be between 12 and 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I think he's a great fit for your guys' organization. I do. So I'm gonna do a little fantasy football. Help me out here. So further, Ray, do you draft Jacoby Myers in your fantasy football league
this upcoming season?
Yeah.
It depends on where he's available. You know, it depends on where he's not. I'm not taking him like an early wide receiver one, even though he is as of right now our wide receiver one, because there's so many other starters that I would take over him. But you know, depending on where he's at, if he's available, I definitely would take him. Jacoby is a sleeper.
All right, now to Bob Sharp. Bob Sharp. You take Brock Bowers as your pick for tight end.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
I had Brock Bowers on 4 of my 5 fantasy football teams.
I'm trying to cheat a little bit here.
I got Brock Bowers on my my dynasty league where we get to keep guys till the next season because we put them on contracts and stuff. My 2 tight ends in my keeper league, I've got Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce.
All right, so
I start both of them.
I'm remembering this right now. So, all right, who ends up being his number 1 target
right now?
Right now,
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Right?
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers is going to have another amazing year. He's going to have another amazing year.
He is because you're either going to cover him with a safety, which he's too strong for a safety, or you're going to put a linebacker on him, and there's not very many linebackers that can cover him.
No, he's too fast. Not too many linebackers can keep up with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Can that also depend on who their wide receivers are? I don't know who their wide receivers are right now, but if the Raiders pick, besides picking Austin Gentry, get a nice number 1 wide receiver. Maybe they'll split the time between who's going to be his number 1 or not.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier was in the second round, you pick the best receiver available, and there's a lot of great receivers out there.
And John, I will say, John, if Ashton Genty's there in fantasy, I'm taking him.
Yeah.
Man,
you got to jump on that. You have to jump on that.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, look, Ashton Genty will be 100%, obviously, depending on what team he goes to. But I'm going to say, if we got him at pick number 6, if the Raiders pick him, I say with confidence he'd be a top 6, top 7 back.
Yeah, he's a solid flex player. He would be for his first year. I wouldn't
for his first year.
He'd be a solid. Because they are going to run. They're going to try to run.
I gotta go answer the door, you guys. Hold on.
Go ahead. You getting another cigar order in or what?
No, probably.
He got cigars delivered live last week, Ray.
Yeah, he did.
On my way. Hold on.
Hey, Ray.
Sounds about right. I believe that.
You guys need to draft a wide receiver.
Yes, because
I've never heard of these other guys.
Yeah, no.
Yes, we do. No, I agree with you. Look, I even wouldn't mind if we still managed to sign a veteran wide receiver like Tyler Lockett, or who else? Mike Evans,
Julio Jones just retired. Mike Evans just re-signed in Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, the Bears wide receiver, Keenan Allen. There you go.
Keenan Allen. Yeah. What is he, like 30? He's in his late 30s.
I think though you guys could probably get a wide receiver in the second round, get a wide receiver in the fourth round, because Puka was a 5th round, Cooper Kupp was a 3rd round, so you can find some value in good guys in the later round.
I agree 100% that I think take Ashton Genty at pick number 6, you go from being one of the worst to the worst, from the worst team in the NFL last year in the run game to increasing it big time. And then, like you said, take a wide receiver in the second round because we still pick early. And there's many, many good receivers. I'd say like the first 5 receivers, we could get our hands on one of those top 5, top 6 receivers at pick 37.
Hey, there's Art giving you the Raiders.
Where? I don't see it.
Yeah, that's Art right there. The
there
fool bastard.
Sir.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah, Art.
All right, we're going to continue with the draft here, but Bob's going to do something right now. Go ahead, Bob. Here you go. Hold on, Bob.
Okay.
Let me do this right. He's got his cigars. See,
Look
he
what I
did get a
got.
cigar order. He did get a
He
cigar.
did get a cigar order.
Oh,
Nice.
Hold on, Bob. Let me do this right.
Sir, these are my. They could go either number 1 or number 2 as best cigars that I like.
Hold
So
on
it
now. Be
doesn't really
quiet.
matter. They can go 1 or 2.
We're
Doesn't
doing
matter.
our first. We're doing our first ad. Go, Bob.
Okay, America, Central Valley. Hey, if you want your lawn to look the best, call my buddy Frank at Cut Above the Rest. For a free quote, call Frank, 209-328-0635. We have mowing, blowing, string trimming, edging, hedging, and tree trimming. We do sprinkler repair, leaf cleanups. We're available 24/7 for a quote. Once again, if you want your lawn to look the best, call my buddy Frank at Cut Above the Rest.
A cut above the rest. Thank you, Mr. Frank. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Oh, we love Frank.
We do.
We do love Frank. Ray. Well, hold on. Let me start with Mr. Andre. How much do you think the respect level for the Raiders has gone up with Brady being there and making decisions? Do you think things have changed at the front office at Raiders headquarters in Las Vegas?
Me personally, right now, I would say no. They haven't played a game
He
yet.
hates them that much.
No. I don't hate them that much. You have to get respect, not by making, well, okay, you make some decisions, yes, you get some respect. But the respect truly comes when the team plays good, and you know that they're moving in the right direction.
Would you say the Raiders are moving in the right direction right now because of Brady?
Well, yes, they are, but I wouldn't give them, respect that they, oh man, you guys are fantastic now. You deserve my respect right away. I wouldn't do that. But yes, I would say, yeah, by the moves they made, they're moving in the right directions. Hopefully this continues. And then you could see that they're playing well. They're competing for playoffs and possible a Super Bowl. That's when you truly, truly get respect. Right now, the Raiders have a big hole to dig out of, as far as playing and having responsible players. I guess not responsible, but good players to compete with.
Before I go to Bob, counter Mr. Ray.
Honestly, I see I see your point of view, Andre. 100%. I agree with you in terms of I think that yes, having Brady in the building has helped. I think he's had a huge role in us bringing in Pete Carroll, our GMs John Spytek, and our quarterback as well, Geno Smith. And I think all of that's a big improvement, but none of that doesn't matter if we don't actually win. So it looks nice, it sounds nice, it makes sense. I'm a fan of it. But it doesn't matter until the season starts and we see what the games look like when it's Sunday. So it's just a wait and see thing. But I will say I like what we are doing, just on paper, what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Bob, it does it not seem a little more professional there at your headquarters?
It's hard to say because you don't see any product on the field yet.
Right.
So we're not in the front office. We don't get to walk around the facility and see if it's professional.
Speak for
or
yourself,
not.
Mr.
Okay.
Sharp.
Let me speak for myself. Although I do want to relate one story. The New York Giants were horrible. They were a bad organization. They hired a head coach named Tom Coughlin. So Coughlin's first day of training camp, 5 minutes before the first meeting, he locks the door. 6 players got locked out, didn't go to the meeting. They all bitched and complained because Tom Coughlin was a no-nonsense type of guy.
Yeah.
Those 6 players got cut. You know what the Giants went on and did that year?
Won a World Series.
They won the
Super
Bowl. So it's up to Pete Carroll to change the culture of winning and losing, but he's got to have the support of the front office, Tom Brady and Mark Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, winning and losing starts with your culture. And like I said, with the Giants, the San Francisco Giants. How you practice is how you play.
Yeah.
So if Pete Carroll comes in, because he did a great job in Seattle, no nonsense, man. Guys love playing for him because he's a hard charger. So you got to set the tone early, and you got to have the support of the front office. If a guy is a great player, but he doesn't want to conform, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Because you don't want cancers. You want guys who fit the team mode.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I think his influence in the game helps with decision making on who they're going to bring in. I think it helps whether you just got into the league, you know who Tom Brady is. Whether you're a rookie or you're still in college, you know who Tom Brady is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps the Raiders when it comes to some players. I'm sure value that that Tom is there and that it's going to be a no bullshit kind of organization. And I think that does help. Some players are going to make a decision because Tom is there, and I think we'll start seeing that in the future. I think when Tom starts being more and more involved with the Raiders' decision making, and he's got a buddy in there now as the GM, so he's going to be in that guy's ear, and I think he's going to make some decisions. And I personally don't know. I don't think any of us know what kind of if Al Davis's son is similar. Yeah, to him and wanting to, hey, I want this guy, I want that guy, I want this guy. I don't know if he's like that or he's kind of hands off. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's that like his dad.
Oh, no. As long as he's not like his, but Al Davis he was a coach.
Yeah.
He was a GM, and then he owned the Raiders. So he had an input on everything he did.
Yeah.
He made some horrible draft decisions.
Yeah.
But
he loves speed. He loves speed.
I know. I think Mark Davis, that's why he brought in Tom Brady and Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be like, half the owners in the NFL where we don't know who they are.
Yeah. Let's just sit in the box, be happy, and take the wins.
I think it would be nice if Tom Brady could get a little bit more percentage of the ownership.
I think he's got a big voice, though, even for the little amount.
He's got a big voice. He's got a big voice, which is true, and that could go a long ways. But I also think if he owned like maybe 20%.
Okay, well, he's going to have to cough up more money to buy more interest.
That's true. I mean, he's got the money to do it.
Well, he's got to pay that.
Well, you know what though? I don't
pay that child support.
I don't think he has as much money as you think he needs, because I think if you were to sell the Raiders right now, you're getting about $6 billion.
Yeah, they're up there. They're way up there now.
So that means
I think in order
to get 16%, he'd have to cop up $1 billion.
Yeah. I think the Raiders are in the top 5 most expensive franchises right now. They're up there. They're up there. That new stadium was a big deal for them. So,
but again, if he gets a little bit more percentage of ownership, maybe that extra 3%, 5% could make him say, okay, we got to do it this way, and he has enough percentage to make it go that way instead of taking it to a vote, and then they might say no, we don't want this.
I don't think it would, that process would go like that. I think Mark Davis brought him in as that voice. What we need, what do we need? Tom Brady, what do we need to win? I don't think there's going to be a vote of what Tom Brady wants. I think Tom Brady's going to get what Tom Brady wants. Yeah, because that's the only reason why you bring him in.
Yeah, I think too.
They did it that way, then that's fine.
I always wondered what, like Andre's talking about. I always wondered, like, who are these people that own these teams? And then they're big groups. The Raiders are a big group of individuals. How many of those guys are really football fans, or are they just in it for the investment? Right. So I don't know how much input, like, the guy that has 15% has to say when it comes to drafting. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of the teams are. Some of them are the original families, like the Chicago Bears, the Hallis family. Right. Now it's the McCluskey family, but it's the same family. Gracie Hunt is the great-granddaughter of Lamar Hunt.
Beautiful woman.
Who started the Chiefs. Look at, Pittsburgh. What family owns the Steelers? Rooney's. The Rooney's. And the Giants is the Mara family.
And Hunt.
That's Kansas City. And then for a long time, it was I'm not going to say Gil Brandt owned the
forget
Cowboys, but he
this.
sold it to Jerry Jones.
Don't forget the Patriots.
The Patriots is Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, all the family ownership ones are still the original family. But yeah, there are groups like the guy who owns the Rams, right? Stan Kroenke. He wasn't the original owner. Carol Rosenblum was, but we all know what happened. That he drowned in 18 inches of water because his wife drowned him. But
Allegedly, Bob.
Yeah, but then she went and married Dominic Frenieri. Come on, man.
Allegedly.
He's with the mob, okay?
Allegedly drowned in 8
He's Italian. He's with the mob.
Allegedly drowned in 8 inches of water.
But I mean, a lot of yeah, you can, Andre.
Drowned in 8 inches of water.
Yeah,
Andre was there that day.
But he was an Olympic. Andre, he's an Olympic swimmer. Drowns in 8 inches of water.
That's the fucked up part.
I understand the Italian way, right? He's going to drown because my foot is on the back of his neck.
Yeah, he didn't have cement shoes on, Bob. He didn't have cement shoes on, Bob. So you can drown in 8 inches of water. It's possible.
He had a cramp and he fell head first, and he couldn't get up.
Let's talk about your pick, Mr. Andre.
My pick.
Yeah, a lot of people drown in puddles out in front of their houses all time. Mr. Sharp.
No, Andre.
Yeah. Andre, your pick.
I'll be honest with you.
Number 11, first round.
Shamar Stewart.
Okay, from what I just read a little bit there and what I could see, he's 6'5", which is good. That's a good height.
265, 267. Right. He's the defensive lineman from Texas A&M.
Texas boy.
Right. And they usually, those teams usually bring up some big boys.
Oh, they do.
I can't say much. The only thing I could say is that we need some offensive linemen and some defensive linemen.
Right.
We do need that. And I'm glad that they're going that way if this is going to be the first pick. But I was sure set that the guy from Ohio State, Simpson, I think it was, the pass rusher.
Go up to number, let's see here. I don't think he's in the top 5.
He's not in the top.
But that was supposed to, according to some of the mock draft, that was supposed to be Niners' first pick.
They revamped it.
All of a sudden, he's gone. I'm glad that they're addressing at least what we need.
You're going to have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We have no choice.
Right.
So I'm glad that they're doing that instead of, doing some Mickey Mouse.
He doesn't have impressive numbers. I mean, to only have 4.5 sacks in his career over 3 seasons, that's
right. But you got to figure.
He had a lot of pressures. He has a lot of the physical traits. He has a lot of the pieces are there. Right. Just at the next level, if he has like that a good enough D-line coach to help him, he can bring it all together because he has a lot of pressure. There's a lot of moments where he's there, he makes contact. Sometimes he just doesn't finish, but he's there, and the pressure's there, and the measurables are there. He just needs to piece it all together.
This could be one of those situations where he's got the tools, but he doesn't have the smarts. Right. And as the years go by, 1 or 2 years, 3 years, the smarts could come in, and then he can be something. But the thing is, do they have 3 years to wait? Can they wait 3 years?
Yeah.
3-4 years. But I don't know much about him. It seems like Ray knows more than I did. And so thank you, Ray. But I'm glad that they're going that way, at least. Now I would like to see, that looks like a defensive lineman.
He is a defensive lineman.
Yeah, defensive
So I would like to see an offensive lineman now to try and correct the right side of the offensive line where we lost Luciano, I think it is.
Right. But see, but here's the deal though with offensive linemen, you can get very quality offensive linemen in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. Because the first 2 rounds, everyone's making the sexy pick for like linebacker, safety, wide receiver, quarterback, running back. Unless you're an exceptional lineman, you're going to go first. But the thing is you can find quality linemen in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. You can.
Right.
Yeah.
And they only have 1 pick in the first round. They got 1, the 11th pick.
I'll tell you what though, if they don't take Shamar Stewart, okay, and they land either Jalen Walker or Michael Williams, I will watch a 49er game if a Rams game's not on TV.
I wonder why.
Just so I can root for my boys from Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia Bulldogs. Little news coming out of 49er camp, and I was actually a surprising article to read, and but they brought up some issues with Purdy and the fact that every team in the NFL knew that Purdy wasn't going to get his contract negotiated, that he may be on the trading block. Are you surprised, Andre, that no team made any effort for a trade for Purdy?
Yeah, I am, especially since there was 5 teams that all needed quarterbacks. I was actually right now the Steelers, they don't have a quarterback. They don't know what to do. They're waiting for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's
Forget
stupid.
That guy.
That's stupid.
Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed yet. Go out, see if you can get Purdy.
Okay, so here's my question to you, Andre. All right, and this is just from a football fan looking in. I don't have any on this question. I don't have any personal bias for
That's a lot.
Without. No, seriously.
Yeah, all right, got it.
So he loses Christian McCaffrey. He loses Mason. He loses Brandon Ayuk. Debo's not always healthy. They lost. Okay, they had a horrible season.
Right.
So, do you think he's an average quarterback in a great season in a great system when people are healthy? Or if he's elite, how come he didn't help him win more games?
Well, just like everybody else, Bob.
I understand.
The horses weren't there, and every team, doesn't matter if you're a good quarterback or a great a shitty quarterback or a great quarterback. If you don't have the horses to help you, you're not going to win.
Okay, so now let me ask you a question, okay? Okay.
Do you agree with that, though?
I'm going to throw this at you, and then you tell me if I agree or not, okay? So Kansas City wins the Super Bowl. They lose Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
They lose their other backup wide receiver.
Okay.
They lose Clyde Hilaire, whatever his name is.
Okay.
And they lose another one of their running backs. Kareem Hunt's gone.
Right.
Okay. So basically, Mahomes wins 2 more Super Bowls with Travis Kelce and the flavor of the month at wide receiver.
Okay.
Besides Travis Kelce, name me a wide receiver on the 2 winning Super Bowl teams.
Worthy.
Running backs.
Worthy.
No. Xavier Worthy as a rookie, yes.
Yeah.
That's second Super Bowl.
So he won a Super Bowl.
He did.
Hunt. They traded back for Hunt.
No, that was this year.
That was this year, yeah.
They won a Super Bowl.
No, after they won a Super Bowl with Hunt, and then Hunt left. Okay, they won 2 more Super Bowls with very basic wide receivers. You had Juju Smith-Schuster, Marcus.
There you
Valdez,
go. There you go, Bob. They had better receivers.
Average. He's not a.
They're better than what the Niners had.
No, they're not. I would take Deebo Samuel,
but
Juwan Jennings. I would take Brandon Ayuk over. I would take Juju Smith.
But again, you go back to the same thing, though.
They didn't have Ayuk. They didn't have the receivers.
Yeah.
They didn't have people.
Hold on, though. Could you put Mahomes in the same situation as Purdy, a system quarterback?
If Mahomes was in the same situation
that's what I'm saying,
as Purdy, he probably wouldn't win the Super Bowl.
That's true, Jason.
But Mahomes won 2 Super Bowls with nobody except
But
Kelce.
he had better players than the Niners have as backups. The only backup that the Niners had that was good.
No. Justin Watson sucked. Marquez Valdez-Scantling couldn't catch.
They suck with a ring.
Yeah, well, he sucks with a ring because of Mahomes. So what I'm saying is Purdy average? Or is he elite? Because if he's elite, he could have done better.
Top, okay, I agree. He's not
He's not a tier 1, but yeah, he's going to get the job done.
Top 4,
sure.
But he's in there to help you. The problem is, again, if the Dodgers wouldn't have O'Shaughnessy, wouldn't have Freeman, wouldn't have Muncy, wouldn't have Clayton Clayshaw, would they win a World Series?
Okay, Andre, I'm going to prove my point here, okay? Last year, the Dodgers, every starting pitcher they had went on the DL. They brought up 4 kids from AAA, okay? Freddie Freeman is on a bad wheel. His left ankle's out. Shohei Ohtani is dealing with a torn labrum in his shoulder. Okay,
Yes. So he couldn't pitch, but he could bat.
He could hit, sure.
Yeah.
But they brought up kids all year. They brought up kids all year long.
I'm going with Jason.
From AAA
Rice
to
is
pitch.
underrated.
Okay, Bob, let me tell you this.
Because of the talent around it.
Yeah.
Okay, and let me tell you this. In baseball, you got 162 games.
Yes,
In
you do.
football, you only got 17.
17.
Okay,
You're a lot better to get hurt and recover and still play for the team.
All right. Hold on. Wait. Let me give my opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion.
Go ahead. Give your opinion, then I'm going to finish this.
The reason I think, personally, myself, isn't that I don't think the NFL thinks he's a tier 1 or a tier 2 quarterback. I think it's the fact that he was the last person picked in the draft when he was drafted. I think that's going to stick with him throughout his whole career, no matter when it comes time to contract negotiations. Do I think he is a tier 1 quarterback? Maybe for that Niners system. Do I think you could take him and put him in, say, the Saints, and he'd do the same thing? I don't know. But I think what hurts Purdy the most is being Mr. What is this?
Irrelevant.
I think that's going to stick with him, and I think that's the reason why teams aren't negotiating for him in a trade possibility.
And Andre, just to finish this off, and this was my point that you made it for me perfectly. Okay, you agree he's not an elite quarterback. Then why are we bitching? Then why are we bitching? Why is him and his agent bitching for an elite quarterback contract?
Because
he should take $30 million.
Tell me this: is Watson an elite quarterback?
Hell no.
Okay, is Prescott an elite quarterback?
No.
Is
Joe Burrow? No.
Don't you say Matthew Stafford?
Is Matthew Stafford an elite quarterback?
Matthew Stafford's only making $32 million a year. Matthew Stafford's not making.
Well, he's still making more than what
Matthew Stafford is like
everybody makes more than Purdy right now.
Matthew Stafford is like the
Lawrence 17th elite quarterback.
Hold on. Matthew Stafford is like the 17th highest paid quarterback in the league. But you know what the one thing Stafford has that Brock Purdy doesn't have?
Yeah, Super Bowl ring.
Thank you very much.
Eventually he'll get one. Now, is Trevor Lawrence an elite quarterback?
No.
All these guys are making way more money.
They are.
Way more money than Purdy is.
It's the fact that he was drafted last. I think that has a big issue with it. And I also think,
and just like Bob said a long time ago.
Yeah, but I also think the other reason was there were so many quarterbacks
more money. If you're drafted in the
have proven their
make less money.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, I get it. Okay, Brock Purdy is a great
Ray. How you doing, Ray?
For the Niners system, he is. But he's not. Go ahead, Ray.
Ray, your 2 cents.
I was just laughing because John and Andre were both talking for like 20 seconds straight, and I did not make out a single thing either one of them said.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Ray.
That's what happens when 2 Italians talk. Nobody wants to stop.
All right, what are we up next to?
Well, I want to get Ray's opinion on that question as far as why Purdy, no trade negotiations whatsoever for Purdy from any team in the NFL.
To be honest, I wasn't even very aware of that Purdy being up for trade was a big possible discussion. Like I know that the contract, they were looking for a new contract for him, but I didn't even think that was in the realm of possibility, to be honest. But in terms of the conversation of like where we view Purdy and how I view Purdy, it's hard to tell, like if it's a system, if it's the players that he had, but I definitely would say he's a serviceable quarterback because he's shown to do so, right? He showed he could do so in the Shanahan system. Right. But we don't know what he looks like outside of that. The only thing we know for sure is last year we saw him in that same system that he's did well in, but without the weapons that he used to having, and he wasn't able to succeed. Yeah. So I get the conversation and why some teams might not have been looking, because last season wasn't a crazy season to take him, to be like, oh, look at what he did last year. Let's try to see if we can get him on a contract. Granted, he did do good, the other year before, but
Yeah, I mean it's a weird thing. I know from the articles that I read, they really want to keep him, but they put a number out there, and it's that number Bob just talked about. It's between 35 and 40 million. That's where the Niners feel comfortable in paying him. I mean, his agent's got to see the fact that no team's called, and I'm sure his agent
he wants more. So wait, they want more than 35 to 40
equal.
million?
Yeah, he wants equal to Prescott's deal. He feels he's equal to Prescott.
He's not getting 60 million.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, I will say this right now. Like the deal that we gave Geno Smith was like, I know we gave him a 2-year, 85.5 million,
Yeah,
66.5 mil guaranteed.
Right.
So I know he's making like a third. I think like 35, 36 million a year.
Yeah.
But again, like I agree with what Bob said. He's in that range of 12 to 15. And hell, I even think that Purdy has a chance of being there. But the one thing I will say, the difference with Geno is last year, although yes, Geno still had his weapons and DK and Smith and Jigba because they didn't get hurt, and Lockett all reliable. But the one thing I'd point out is Geno and Seahawks still went 10-7, still playing in the same Niner division with the Rams, and so with one of the worst O lines in the league.
Right.
So he may not have been without the talent of the players on the wide receiver end, but he was without on a good O line, and he still was managing to make the plays and make the throws and win the games that they did. So it's hard. It's really hard.
I think what helped Geno is that he can scramble better than Purdy can. Yeah. So if you got a scrambling quarterback, you have let's say you have a mediocre or okay offensive line, and you can scramble, you can compensate for that having not a bad offensive line by scrambling and getting out of situations and then making some nice throws. And I think that's what helped Geno. Purdy can scramble some, but he can't scramble like most quarterbacks can. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the super speed that most quarterbacks have.
Yeah, I think also he doesn't have that ability to look down the field when he's scrambling like most and make that decision on. Yeah, that's what I know. I don't know if that was just last year because he was running for his life. I don't know if he did that a lot last year. He didn't have McCaffrey in the backfield. That's a huge difference for him. That changes every defense's perspective on how they play the Niners, whether or not McCaffrey's back there or not.
Right.
So, and then you got Debo, and then you got, friggin' Ayuk. So, I mean,
but they both were hurt.
Debo's gone.
Debo's gone.
Debo's gone.
Yeah. Right, now he is. And now there's talk that Ayuk might want to be traded, or
trying to trade
his contract.
Well, no, I think that they're trying to trade Brandon Ayuk because I don't think that he's healing as well as they want him.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that could be true.
I think he may not come back full strength and be like a step slower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think his attitude has a lot to do with it too. I think his attitude is, Mr. Sharp.
Yes.
You see that name?
I see that name, and I would be thoroughly disgusted if they did that. I think there's better opportunities and better options. We don't need him there.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this last week. His numbers are off the charts. He had a great college career. I'm not going to dispute that one bit or not. Yeah, but it's again, like we talked about, and I'm going to ask Ray too. But I know, Ray, you're a lot younger. You don't remember the big giant ego that Deion Sanders had as a player, and now even as a head coach. When I was asking Bob and I was asking Andre, do you feel that he's you're not just getting? I don't want to say his name. Go ahead, Bob.
Shedeur Sanders
and his dad, or are you just getting Shedeur Sanders? And do you want to deal with that ego of his?
I think no matter where he ends up going, his father's going to be somewhat involved, but I don't think that he's going to be involved to the degree that a lot of people might think. So, I think again, just because, his dad's been in the NFL, he knows what it's like. He's played at the highest level, and there's certain things he might want to, I guess, shelter or protect his son from or avoid him from having to deal with and whatnot with the business aspect. But I also think at the same time, when it comes to just him, and his son's ability and him to be on a team and improve and play and just that aspect, I think he'll be letting his son deal with that more on his own. He won't be involved as much.
Yeah, I hope so. Bennett or Sanders
as
right
a backup.
Right now, if you had to, because one's going to go. If they take Sanders, Bennett's gone.
Okay, so my opinion, I think the Rams should either go offensive lineman here and rebuild the left side, or they go wide receiver to help out Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Okay, there's a kid who's going to be a 3rd round or 4th round pick, and that is the kid who played quarterback at Ohio State last year. He started Kansas State. Will Howard. Will Howard can scramble. Will Howard can throw. I think we could get Will Howard in the 3rd or 4th round and, pick an offensive lineman to help rebuild the left side, because the right side's locked down, man. I mean,
I'm scrolling down here. I don't even see another wide receiver after the Rams.
That's because they've got
they're going by
Ohio State. What's his name? Right?
Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka. I think he's going to go 2nd round. But if the Rams had a shot to get him in the 1st round, I would get him in the 1st round.
There he is.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy there, I would get him. And again, he's my third receiver. Put him on the outside because you want Puka in the slot and Devontae Adams on the other side.
Yeah,
I think Puka operates better as a slot receiver than as on the end, because he can, the way he runs his patterns and stuff. But if you could get him along with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, man, that'd be fun to watch. Along with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum in the backfield. Yes, that'd be so fun to watch.
All right, I'm going fantasy right now. Ray, do you take Devontae Adams in your fantasy football league?
If Devontae Adams is available, because I just had Devontae Adams. I just first fantasy, I won. I had a great time.
Yes. We all know you won.
Devontae Adams was actually Devontae Adams is actually one of the players that I took. Right now, I didn't take him early though. He managed to fall to where I was picking, and I got him a little later. So and I took him, and he was productive for me, even though he was with the quarterbacks that we had last year, and then going with Aaron Rodgers. So
Aaron Rodgers saved him at the end of the year.
If I could get him in that same spot again, that same kind of round spot where I took him, 100%, I'll take Devontae Adams again. Stafford's a hell of a quarterback.
No, Devontae Adams is probably going to go. Okay, look, you've got Jamar Chase, you got Justin Jefferson, you got CeeDee Lamb. I think. No, I'm just going wide receivers.
Okay.
You've got Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Diggs.
I think Devontae Adams is probably going to go 3rd or 4th in a fantasy draft, and I think he's not going to be anyone's choice of number 1 receiver, but he'll be the number 2 receiver, because they're all going to go, like I said, they're going to go Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson. They're going to go all these other guys first before they go Devontae Adams. But yeah, I would draft him. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Should
we help since Jason is out there, we will help Jason. We'll go scrolling all the way down here to that little, what, did I go too far?
You did.
I did, because they're up here somewhere.
Keep going.
Right there.
Boom. Safety. He's actually a really good safety right there. Nick Emmanwori is a really good safety.
You know who's also a great safety? Malachi Starks.
Yes, sir. You're correct. I agree.
You know who's also good safety or defensive back?
Oh.
Hunter.
Yes. Well, he's right. Obviously,
I think he's better than the guy from Georgia.
Absolutely, he is. That's why Travis Hunter is going to go in the first 3 picks.
Yeah.
Let me ask
Travis
you.
Hunter is going to go the first 3 picks. Huh?
Let me ask you a question. You said Emeka Ibuka is your 3rd wide receiver on your list. So who's your 1 and 2?
Well, no, I got Puka Nacua for the Rams. Puka Nacua.
Well, I meant like from the draft. My apologies, because I was going to ask
for the draft.
Ray's trying to get your inside.
So you got McMillan. You've got Golden from Texas.
Burden.
So Luther Burden, I would probably put the kid from Ohio State over Luther Burden.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
But your first 2 are McMillan and Golden.
Now, okay, the reason why I ask you that is because if you're including Travis Hunter in that wide receiver conversation, where are you putting him?
I'm not putting Travis Hunter in the wide receiver because if I've got Travis Hunter and he's my starting cornerback, Travis Hunter is only going to be available on 3rd down plays.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a 1st down, 2nd down guy. He's only coming in for 3rd down because I'm not going to play him 3 downs, 1st, 2nd, 3rd down on offense and then have him go out and take the field on defense.
There might be a team. There might be a team that takes him and uses him primarily as a wide receiver. Like, I feel like, for example, in my opinion, right, if the Patriots were to take him, I think it makes more sense for the Patriots to use him primarily as a wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Hey, Ray, where's your trophy, Ray?
Oh, mine's trophy's in the room.
No, Bob might not use him as a 3rd down, as a 3rd down receiver only.
I would.
That's your fantasy. But like what Ray said was, there's going to be teams that they're going to draft him, and they're going to draft him as a wide receiver.
Yeah, starting wide receiver.
And they're not going to use him just as a 3rd down man. They're going to use him as their primary receiver.
Well, okay,
the reason why I said the Patriots specifically is because look at the Patriots cornerback room. They have a really good cornerback room.
Right.
So they need another offensive weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep going up, John. Keep going.
And that's
there.
On today's talk, on some of the talk shows I was listening today, they were saying that the best fit for Travis Hunter would be to go to the New England Patriots as their 4th round, the fourth pick overall.
Right.
I believe that's what they have.
Right.
That they will pick him as their wide receiver, and they can use him as a defensive back also. So now you got one guy, you're paying one guy to play 2 positions. That'll save him money.
True, but I would want to get the most out of him. So what I would do is I would start him on defense and let him be my 3rd down wide receiver because I don't want him to play 100 reps a game.
Yeah,
I want him to play you could use him as your primary receiver, and then use him as on defense. Use him as obvious passing situations for 3rd downs when it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. That's That's an obvious passing situation. You put him in there. You can go either way.
Right.
Yeah. Mr. Sharp, do you see any surprises before the draft? Do you see anybody in the top 5 making a move, or you see everybody sticking to their guns?
Okay, if I'm Tennessee, okay, I mean, yes, it's gonna be great to get Cam Ward, but if I'm Tennessee, I would take offers of what I could get to trade that pick. You still got Will Levis. I would take, extra draft picks and build me a solid offensive line and defensive line. Okay. Because, I mean, if you put Cam Ward in, he's going to be, he's going to go through that I'm on the worst team thing. And it's going to take him 2 or 3 years until they get an offensive line. I would entertain offers for the pick but I would be hardcore like the Rams did. Okay, I'll give you 3 years worth of first rounds and I'll give you a 3rd round, but I want your number 1 pick. Okay, because I want that. But the Rams had a decent offensive line when they got Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Okay, when they made that trade. So, but the Rams built a good team by trading away the number 1 pick because they got Aaron Donald and who else is starting? Who else started for him in the first round? But basically getting Aaron Donald, Tavon Austin, and Aaron Donald when they traded their pick to Tennessee because they had the first pick.
Yeah. You see any surprises, Andre?
No, because I'm not following it the way you guys are.
Yeah. Ray?
I don't know about I don't know about surprise. I don't know if there's anything I could think of that might happen that, that in my mind where I could see potentially happening, but it would be like a really big shocker and a big surprise. There's nothing that really comes to my mind. But I was gonna ask, how many quarterbacks do you guys think taken in the first round?
3.
3, yeah. 3
It's
for
only
sure.
3 or 4 that are worthy enough to be taken.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody is gonna go out on a limb and draft Jackson Dart.
Yep, 100%. Whether if it's the Steelers or the Saints,
Steelers.
somebody's gonna take him.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's gonna take him.
Yeah, I don't know. The only team I can think of making a move here towards the end would be Dallas. That's the only team.
Yeah, Dallas is talking about trading Prescott for like trading Prescott to Tennessee for the first pick, and then they want to get either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, that's the only team I can think of.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think Tennessee wants to pick up that $60 million contract.
Nobody wants that.
That was my words right there.
Yeah,
but I want to pay $60 million.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to throw this out here right now because I just thought about this.
Go.
The draft is the last Thursday night in April. Okay, starts at 5:00.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday night. Draft show.
We could do a draft show. I think, Ray, you'd be working though, right?
Well, you go to work at midnight?
Yeah, I go to work at midnight that day, so I'd be able to.
Yeah, okay.
Take a nap.
Take a nap.
I'd get off of work and I get off early that day, so I'll just come home, I'll just sleep, and I'll be good.
We could get Jesse on this other mic.
Yeah, we'll get Jesse on here. That'd be great.
We'll bring in some beers or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll do 3 hours of every pick. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, heck
because normally what we do is we go out to a bar.
Where will we get the picks? Where were you gonna get the picks from? What are we gonna have?
We're gonna watch TV.
We should do live. Yeah, they got live.
I mean, they show it live on ESPN.
Yeah.
So we could watch. I mean, you guys just we just watch ESPN.
Yeah. It would do the same thing I did just now. I just share the screen and then click on it, and then the draft will be right here to the side of us. We would do the digital part of it. We couldn't do the actual video part of it, but we could do the digital part.
Well, but see, here's the whole thing. In between picks, we can give our opinions on who they think they should draft.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then, I mean, all we need to know is who they draft. It'll pop up. And then we can analyze that pick.
Yeah.
And but see, we do this every year. We go to a bar. Usually it's rivets, and we watch the whole draft.
Yeah.
And that's all we do. We sit around and talk about, who got drafted, who they should draft, blah, 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 blah.
We talk about their girlfriends.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. We talk about the girlfriends.
The hot moms.
But no, it's just a lot of fun, though.
Yeah. Because we are going to try to do a fantasy, everybody coming over here to my house to do the draft, our fantasy football draft all together. So everybody brings their own laptop, and everybody will draft from here live, and we'll be doing the show as we're doing our draft.
Right.
So that'd be fun.
Right.
It'll be fun. And then we can have, I can actually set up a bunch of cameras. So you can have like the Raiders section, the Rams section, the Niners section. Yeah. I could do that. In the draft room for the Raiders.
Before we leave, I need my 5 minutes.
All right. And let me give Bob his 5 minutes here. Hold on, guys. Let me play Bob's bumper. Where is Mr. Bob's bumper? It's down here. And there it is.
Oh, for 5 minutes. Could you not be yourself? For 5 minutes!
It's Bob.
All right. I'm not sure if you guys are following the news, but this kind of irritated me over the week when I saw this. Okay. Lamar Jackson is suing Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the number 8. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had the number 8 on his car for the last 25 freaking years. Yeah. And now Lamar Jackson is suing him because He wants to have the exclusivity on the number 8 because of his foundation and his jersey number. I think this is totally effing stupid. Right? Number one, Earnhardt Jr. has had the number forever. Okay, he has. He's had it forever.
Yeah.
And now Lamar Jackson wants to sue him, stop and desist, because Junior can't use the number 8 anymore.
You can't. All right, from what I understand, how like the patent shit works, you there's certain there's certain names, there's certain numbers, there's certain things that you cannot patent.
Right.
What he's trying to do is patent the number 8,
Right, because of his foundation.
right? And I don't think he could even do that. I don't think he could file suit. And matter of fact, the fact that Earnhardt has had that number for probably, like
Since
you're
he
saying,
started driving.
yeah, since he started driving, I think let's just call it what it is, a frivolous lawsuit.
Right. Okay.
So does that mean every little kid that plays Pop Warner, high school, junior high school, college can't wear the number 8?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
he
what
wants
that
to
means?
be-
Oh, so I'm reading this. He's actually is trying to patent that number. So yeah, he's not. The patent office is going to throw that out because you cannot. Now, okay, if he, Jan trademark specific conflicts with his own Era 8 brand. So now that's different. If
Right.
he can patent Era 8, that's
Era 8.
you can't just patent number 8 because 8 is everywhere.
Right, 8 is everywhere. And he's suing Dale Earnhardt Jr. for that.
That is insane. I didn't
Anybody
know.
that plays baseball, basketball, anybody
Right.
that plays any sport cannot wear number 8.
Yeah,
How
it's
do
crazy.
these people think of shit like this?
I don't know.
It,
I don't know.
It just, and I don't know what his Era 8 organization is about. Do you have any idea? Anybody know what it is?
No, it's his foundation.
Never heard
His
of it.
foundation. Is it for like
That's
building homes for the homeless?
No, he's not doing that.
He's not doing. Bob straight up. He's not
Telling you what
doing
he's
that.
doing.
He's not going back to the hood.
No. Because one of the few players who's actually doing that, building homes for single moms,
Yeah,
nobody ever talks about.
yeah.
Warwick Dunn, played
Warwick
for
Dunn,
Tampa
yeah.
Bay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is he
He's out
gonna
there building. Go
is
ahead.
he gonna sue the Kobe family for wearing number 8?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean,
I mean,
if
Kobe
Kobe's
wore
family
number
has a
8.
foundation, with the number 8 in it, I'm not sure if he's going to go after them next. I
Okay,
don't know.
here
I
you
just
go.
think it's stupid.
Era 8 is all about apparel. So it's his t-shirts, polos, hats, hoodies, socks, accessories, and more. That's his men's collection. He's got a women's collection. He's also got what else here? We've got just cultural clothing. So I don't know what the hell that is. But basically, it sounds like it's an apparel brand.
Okay, so here's my opinions on that. If it's just about apparel, before Lamar even made it to the NFL,
Yeah.
I was going to NASCAR races, and 3/4 of the crowd was wearing number 8 T-shirts because of Dell Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, so get a new life.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I have another thing.
Yeah. Got it.
So yesterday was the national championship game, and I heard some great comments about this on the women's.
Yeah.
UConn won. Paige Beckers, Azzy Fudd, they were a great team. They beat South Carolina, and so the numbers were down from last year. Okay, the numbers were down. Not as many people watched the women's final as they did last year with Caitlin Clark. So I'm listening to a conversation last night, and this really hit home. I mean, this put it all into perspective. Somebody was like, how come Caitlin Clark drew more fans than Paige Beckers and UConn? Or Juju Watkins in USC, or Flojanay Johnson at LSU, Haley Van Lith at TCU. And you guys should be fucking impressed that I know all these female basketball players. But this person put it in perspective. Caitlin Clark played on an Iowa team with no other superstars.
That's it.
Okay, that's why she caught the interest. Plus her game. She plays like Steph Curry. I mean, she is the female version of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, how come no other woman this year could carry that? Is because every other team that was really good had 3-star players.
Yeah.
and not one player was carrying the league. So there was less. I mean, there wasn't less interest. It's just as these other names didn't pop up as much because they're not leading their team in scoring every night.
Yeah.
They're not the only person on the team that is making headlines and stuff. And I just thought that was very interesting. And yes, I did follow the game until 10 minutes to go because by then it was going to be a blowout. And we all know that. But because of Cooper Flag and Duke, more people this year watched the men's than the women's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure how the championship game is going to go tonight with Houston and Florida. I mean, I'm going to watch it because I think it's going to be a very intriguing game with two different styles.
Yeah.
But this year, people actually are watching men because of Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
So
there's your error 8.
I don't care.
I was just fighting for.
I know.
What is it?
It's
a clothing line.
It's clothing line.
It's clothing line.
Right.
Yeah, it's just clothing line. It's shirts and jackets
But he doesn't want Dale Jr. to use the number 8 on his clothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But Dale Jr. has been selling clothes since 1999.
Yeah. He's been in there. And with the Caitlin Clark as well, I think a part of it is the fact that it is Iowa, and they haven't been a powerhouse. They haven't been involved in big games, and now you have this smaller school with a. Do I think if she would have been black, it would have been different? I don't think so. It's the fact that it's Iowa and there's one player that's coming out of that system out in Iowa.
But it's her ability.
Her ability. Exactly.
I mean, she's shooting like Steph Curry.
If Caitlin Clark would have been black, I think the publicity would have been even way more.
Yeah, I do too.
That's my opinion. And
I think it just comes down to her skill, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously. If you look last year at and this made me chuckle. All right, this made me laugh my ass off. So the WNBA this year is taking their star player where they went to college and they're having a game on campus.
Okay? Oh wow, pretty cool.
Of the campus that they played at. Iowa sold out in 30 minutes to have the Indiana Fever come play in Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay, the Chicago Fire with Angel Reese, they're still trying to give tickets away.
Yeah,
because they didn't sell out, even though Angel Reese went to LSU. They're not selling hardly any tickets.
Yeah.
But yet Caitlin Clark sold out going back to Iowa in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, I've never actually witnessed something like we're seeing now in the WNBA and any other sport.
No.
Where you have just, you can't compare to anybody in the league. You just can't. And if you were to have an individual in any other sport at that level, they would be getting accolades like you couldn't imagine. They would be on ESPN every day. They would be on,
the Fevers, every game is going to be televised.
Yeah. So, for me, the attitude that's being shown to her, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just like, you got the golden goose. That's the golden goose. This is what's going to bring viewership to the league. This is what's going to make advertisers spend money on the WNBA. This is going to be the reason that you don't have to borrow money from the NBA anymore.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing. Go ahead.
I think they hate the reality of that, though, John. I think a lot of these players truly hate the fact that Caitlin Clark is one of the biggest reasons why so many people are even talking about the WNBA, whether even watching the WNBA. Granted, a lot of these other players that Bob mentioned, they are great players.
They are.
But Caitlin Clark is an elite player.
Yeah, right.
She brings something that just you've never seen in the WNBA.
Yeah, right.
Her ability to shoot from how far she's able to shoot.
Right.
Yeah. She's a one-in-a-time generation player.
Yeah, and that's just what happens when you are a one-in-a-time generational player like that. You're going to get that level of attention. You're going to get fans even if people aren't a fan of that team. What team is she on again? The Indiana, right?
Indiana
even if nobody's actually a fan of that team, people are a fan of her. So she's going to have so many fans that watch those games just because of her. Right. So of course that all of that following that she has, whether if it's just because they're her fans of the team, fans of WNBA, and she's made them fans of the WNBA, all of that just brings into more media, more coverage, more money. So
more money, man. That's how you got.
What it is too is when she goes on the road to play these other teams, they've got to play in regular NBA arenas for all the fans.
Yeah.
Because before she got there, they were playing in arenas with 4,000 seats to make it look full.
They're playing high school stadiums.
Yeah, now they're playing in front of 19,000, 20,000 fans, and half the crowd is wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys, and a lot of the little girls, there's different skin colors there, man, because they like her and the style of basketball she plays because she's the closest thing to Steph Curry that the NBA has, except for Sabrina Ionescu, plays for the New York Liberty. She can shoot the lights out too.
Yeah,
but she can't come off a pick like Steph Curry and hit a basket like Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I think her ball handling may be a little bit better than Caitlin's.
I don't know, man. I mean, Caitlin Clark is the real deal, and
she's still got good. She's still got good ball handling.
She does. But the problem is
she doesn't have that explosive first step that you see most elite players have, like Jordan and Mahomes, fucking Magic and Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
That explosive first. She doesn't have that, but she gets open.
Right.
She gets open, and goddamn, dude, she only needs a second. She only needs a second, just to.
But her confidence to like shoot.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Hey, and the way I look at it is, if she's affecting you that much and she's making you feel like less of, go practice, go work on your game.
Angel Reese,
go stop, put your hamburger down, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called.
Right. Angel Reese, who bitches that she's the best and she doesn't get the love and attention, blah 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 blah, whatever. Okay. Number one, she can't hit a layup. She's uncoordinated. Okay. If I'm Angel Reese, I'm not going to be on Instagram showing off my latest outfit. I'm not going to be doing a podcast where I bitch about how I'm not respected. Yeah. I'm not going to be out at all these different parties. I'm going to be like Larry Bird,
an NBA coach to kind of help me with my skill level.
I'm going to be Larry Bird and shoot 700 shots a day. And like Larry said, when to beat Magic, he went to shooting 800 shots a day because he wanted to win.
Yeah.
I don't think Angel Reese wants to win.
I someone needs to teach her how to go to left and how to use her left hand, because I've never seen, that's what blows me away is you go around telling people you're the best player in the league, and yet you can't go to your left. You can't use your left hand. Right. You're stacking your numbers because you're missing your own goddamn shots. And of course, you're under the basket.
Yes.
You're getting every single one of your own. This should just, that should be a new stat number in there. Let's just rebounds and then own rebounds. Right. Let's just put own rebounds up there, because it's ridiculous. And like I said, you know what? If you want to get better, go practice. Go practice. Make it yourself better. I mean, and Ray said it perfectly. Was I a Bulls fan? Fuck no. I hated the Bulls, but I love Jordan. I watched Jordan, got me hooked, and it was this is like early ESPN time.
Yeah,
but the games used to be replayed at midnight. Remember
the finals? Yeah,
that
was in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Magic and Bird put them on.
And I had come home drunk off my ass from cruising McHenry, and I turned on my TV, and there was a game, North Carolina game. And I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Holy shit!"
Yeah.
And I was hooked from that moment. When he went to the Bulls, did I hate him? No, I didn't hate him, but I wasn't a Bulls fan. But you know what? If there was a Bulls game on and I knew he was playing, I'm watching.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're getting. You're getting the same effect with her,
Entertainment,
man. You want to be entertained.
There's a little story here that it's no big deal, but I heard this a long time ago, and it was about Jordan. He was cut from his high school coach.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't make the team. He was cut.
Freshman.
And I guess he goes out and practices or whatever, and he becomes the GOAT.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean,
practice.
Just practice. Get out there and make your game better. Work on your layups, man. Jesus Christ.
We're talking about practice,
man. And I mean, the other thing I think too with Caitlin, and I think the men like watching her. I think because we're getting to see a pure basketball form, a game that we haven't gotten really to see. Someone that's still driving to the hoop,
Right.
Someone that's still making amazing fucking passes.
Absolutely.
Some of these passes, I'm just like, dude, I wouldn't have seen that guy there.
Yeah.
So I think a lot has to do. I think what other reason do you honestly? I'll ask Ray because he's a young guy. But why do you think guys are watching Caitlin? Why do you think guys are now paying more attention to the WNBA?
I think you kind of touched on like a second ago. There's something so pure about her game when just from a pure basketball standpoint. You don't see her like we pointed out a second ago with injuries, going on podcasts and talking about other women in the WNBA. She's strictly business. She practices, she shows up, and she plays her ass off. That's it. She doesn't talk about anybody else. She doesn't do no unnecessary social media or podcasts or none of that other stuff. And she's just strictly business and her craft. Her craft is so good. It speaks for itself. It's so entertaining. That's why I enjoy watching clips or games that she's in, is because from an entertainment standpoint, watching somebody do something in a sport or in a position that's basically never been done before is very entertaining. I don't care what sport you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you look at it, and a lot of people are probably going to hate that I'm going to say this, but I mean, you're right, Ray. Look at her game. Shoots like Curry, passes like Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, what better combination do you need?
Yeah.
I heard,
and you get ahead, Andre. Go ahead.
This is going off the subject that we're talking about, but I heard we're talking about it, but it's off the subject of Caitlin Clark, and I heard that in the NBA is going to try and change their format, I guess, of playing basketball by trying not to rely so much on the 3-point shot anymore. They want the players to like drive for the layup and then dish it off. I don't know how they're going to be able to stop that. I mean, how can you stop something that started?
Move it 3 more feet back.
Okay,
back.
No. You want to stop that? Seriously?
You can't.
Yeah, you can. Let them play defense again. Let them hand check.
Yeah,
let them get physical. You can't touch people now. That's why they can sit out on the 3. Okay, you can't touch anybody.
Especially a 3-pointer, because why are you going to touch somebody, get a foul, and give them 3 free shots?
Exactly. Let them hand check.
That would be one way.
Let them go back to playing physical defense.
Yeah, play a physical game, dude. It's got to
let them go back to playing defense like they did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, that
will prevent guys hanging out on the 3-point line because they know they can't get touched.
Yeah, because if they move it back, guys will just practice.
Oh, yeah.
Just practice. All right, you're going to move it 2 more feet?
Steph Curry can hit from half court.
Yeah, I know. That's the other problem.
Moving the line back's not going to stop anything. Yeah. Let them play defense. Let them
let
them get physical.
We are done, gentlemen. We are done. But I got to put this. Where is it? Oh, I don't even know where our man is. Where is our man? Oh, there he is. There you go.
There you go.
Yes. Hey, Ray, it was good to have you back
Ray,
on the show,
man.
Yes, sir.
Come on, guys. Let's give it to him one more time. Ray.
There we go.
Yeah, well, me and Bob will try to figure it out. The draft show, we'll get it all dialed in. We'll figure out what's going on. We'll have potluck and have some fun with it. Yeah. And it sounds like it'll be a good time. Maybe Andre will drive down.
I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
Where are you going? What island are you going to be? I know you guys. This is cruising season for you guys.
April the 18th.
Yeah,
my mom's birthday.
Through happy birthday.
May rest in peace.
Yeah. April the 18th through May 1st.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you won't be here for the draft show.
I won't be here.
What island are you visiting with your yacht?
Let's see.
He's got to think about it.
Why do you think about it?
San Martin, Kids.
Sam, can I go?
You got room in your bag?
Okay, so Andre, if you're going to San Martin, okay, get some sunglasses. Okay. If you're going to go to San Martin, walk around town, go near the beaches, sunglasses.
He's trying to get you not to get in trouble.
I'm trying to not to get slapped get you slapped. All right. Because
okay.
San Martin has some of the best like topless beaches in the Caribbean. I don't want you to get beat up.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Marine will be going on an excursion in San Martin that I can't do.
Yeah,
good.
So I'll be free to do what I want to do.
Have them roll you out to the public beach and just sit there with a cigar and a drink.
That's exactly.
Hey, me and Ray are not part of
Right
this.
here. You see them right here. Here they are.
Ray's like, can I go with you?
Well, no, I see no evil. I hear no evil.
Hey, real quick, Andre, I'm going to be up in your neck of the woods on May the 18th. It's on a Sunday.
May 18th. We'll stop by.
Yeah, my cousin lives in Lincoln, and my aunt's coming into town, so we're going to go up for a buffet and stuff. But as it gets closer, I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we'll
she lives in Lincoln.
Yeah,
we'll be open. The door's open.
All right,
we'll be open.
Right on.
Hey, you're not going to see one of those trophies for many years.
You're not going to see one of those tight shirts on either.
That too. That for sure.
Man, who took that picture?
Hey, man, your wife sent it to me. Hey, and props to Marine. I saw her. I didn't know she skied. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, I used to ski.
I know you did. Well, you rolled down the hill, I'm sure.
Well, that's why I stopped.
Yeah, that's why you stopped. Eventually stopped. We're out of here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's good having Ray back. Yes. We will be back next week. Whole new show, a lot of new topics, a little more baseball talk. Who's that? Oh, that was Marine. And that's it. Everybody, look into the camera. Let me get ready. Hold on. No high hit list, okay, guys? I'm waiting. Caesar. Hey, live or die. Live or die.
Live or die.
Live or die. All right, we're out of here. Peace.